All right, everyone, we're here in the Basement Sports HQ in Jersey City, New Jersey. We just got this in today, the Basement Sports 2-in-1 Soccer Hockey Starter Kit. We'll do a little bit of an unboxing, field setup, and show you how we recommend to play. Of course, kids and grown-ups alike usually invent their own games and ways to play, but since this is an app-enabled game, you can use the app free both on Android and iOS, Basement Sports. From there, now this will be our second and third sports added, soccer and hockey, being added to what many of you may know from last holiday season. We had Basement Baseball. We're not going to do an unboxing of that today. We went through all that last year, and now thousands of families and kids are enjoying that. But just as a comparative note, the box is a little bit lighter and a little leaner, so hopefully it ships a little more affordably. We are offering, free shipping through the holiday season at least. What I like about it is that obviously two sports in one. And the reason we decided on soccer and hockey is because they use some of the same things, like obviously the goals, which are included, also 2 hockey sticks, 2 goals, a ball for soccer, a nice carrying bag that you'll see as we get through. And then you can see there's references on the box for the apps themselves, both on hockey, which is actually launching in 2 weeks before the end of the year, and soccer, which is actually available in the stores as we speak. So that's what you get in terms of the packaging. And we're going to go ahead and open up. There's a QR code, by the way, as well, that takes you to the website to order any other accessories or gear that you may need. So let's see what's in the box. Okay. First thing is your 2 hockey sticks. Little hang tag. They're in their own little mesh net, just fine, and a little ball. We were debating between a puck and a ball. Now on a floor like this, what we have here, a puck would work fine, but on carpets, a puck would be pretty static. So we opted to go for a little ball instead of a puck, or in place of a puck, which is good for, ice hockey, field hockey, whatever you want to replicate there, street hockey, usually better with a ball. So you got these 2 sticks. The size of the stick, 33 inches, so something that a kid anywhere from 5'6" to 12, 13, 14, unless they're super, super tall, could use comfortably. I'm about 5'10" myself, and I think I can play with this. I have to lean down a little bit. I might want to play on my knees if I'm going against my son. But we really debated that because a lot of toy sticks come in, this smaller size, right? And if you can compare it, you can see we're a good foot longer. So obviously they come in all sizes. I didn't want to get it in a size too long so as to make it hard for the younger kids to play. So I think this is a good compromise. In the future, we're going to look into things like different size sticks or even extensions that you can add on top for anyone who's taller. So first item, 2 hockey sticks with the hockey puck/ball. Second item will be actually these, well, this is a bag actually. This is a nice little carrying case. Let's unveil this with the logo. And it should be able to hold everything comfortably, because we know the box won't last forever. It gets beat up in shipping, and although it's nice, that goes in the garbage, but everything else can go into this nice little carrying case. So we'll just kind of lay that down. Now I'm just going to dump and see what else we got here, because this is mostly going to be the goals. Okay. I don't see our soccer ball. Soccer ball's kind of stuck at the bottom there. I'll go fish that out after. But what we have here is we have marking tape, what we call like more for field tape that we'll use. We have red tape now on the floors. That was for baseball. We've got the green tape for soccer. So you use that to mark like penalty kicks or a goal box or really a number of things. And then you have the two nets with the connectors, which we'll go ahead and set up. Really just a super basic instructional manual here that talks about how to play the game. So simple contents and instructions, how to get the app, how to put the goal together. Now these stakes come here as well. These stakes would be more if you were taking it outdoors into a backyard, which you can do. We're not going to obviously recommend to use those for the indoor game setup. We've included a whistle here for any third-party referee, mom or dad. Okay, let's put that around the neck. There is a tape measure, which should be used to, just measure out, make sure if you're creating a goal box or any kind of sidelines, you can keep it equidistant on both sides. There's our soccer ball, 6 inches, soft, round. I mean, it's very important to us that all the balls we use, especially in basement sports, inherently as an indoor sport, are soft. We don't want to be breaking windows. I did a lot of that when I was a kid. My mom wasn't too happy. So we don't want to break glass. We don't want to break furniture, crack TVs, computer screens, things of that nature. So using soft balls, very important. 6-inch ball, good for any age kid or grown-up. We're going to demonstrate and play a little bit later. Let's get the net out. I like these goals. I like this size. It'll work. It'll work for what we have, which is mostly a one-on-one game. This might be the long pipe. The long pipes are for the other goals. 2 side pipes. Yep. All right, that makes more sense. I mean, really, this could be both anywhere from a one-on-one game to a 3-on-3, or sometimes a 2-on-1, 3-on-2. Sometimes it could be big brother or dad against, son and daughter. Different configurations. But the goal works either if you're playing in soccer, sweeper keeper, or actually having a goalie. That's up to each local league, each local home field, home court host to decide how they want their games to be played. One more pipe and then 2 connectors, and then goal number 1 will be set up. The cool thing is that this product can be used as a net, what we call a net fielder for baseball. Since basement baseball is a one-on-one game, for the most part, again, could always be 2v2, but using the net fielder is kind of your shortstop. When you're a fielder is something pretty cool. We did that in the tournaments we hosted here, and we're about to start another office league. I have to see if I can defend my championship against some of these young bucks we got coming up. All right, there you go. Basement sports. That's our goal. So you can play goalie on your knees or standing up, or if it's hockey, with the stick. And there we go. Goal number 1. Two more, and then we're set with our second goal, and we can get into setting up the rest of the field, which really isn't rocket science. I mean, for baseball, basement baseball, field setup is a little more involved in terms of the bases and pitching mound. For soccer, for hockey, really, it's just about how much space do you have, and are you playing with like the 6-year-olds that I coach. There's no goalies and there's no using your hands. In this case, it's a one-on-one game. I kind of like sweeper keeper, which I'll show you how that works. That's what I'm going to recommend when we get into field setup. But here we go. We're done. So we got our second goal. We got the 2 goals. Ready to go. Looking good. Looking ready to take some action. And ready to set up the field. So let me go right into that. We've got a lot of stuff in this space in our HQ today. We've just had a lot of deliveries. So basically it's a good example when people say, well, I don't have a space that big. I got furniture, I got this, I got that. We have a lot of stuff as well, right, in this space. And I'm going to show you just with a little bit of space, and we can measure out to see how much it is. Looks like about 15, 20 yards or so. We're going to just try to get as big a field as we can. So I'll put one goal over here right in front of this couch. And let's get the second goal over here. The main thing for setting up the field, I mean, you have the tape measure and the field tape, right? So we're going to use field tape to mark the soccer specific lines for anything needed. It's not mandatory. I mean, sometimes you might not want to have tape on your floors or in your basement or wherever you're setting this up, your rooms, and you don't have to. It's just an option. You know, if you have a wall or something like we have here, you could always play off the wall on one side. You don't have to make that out of bounds. So we'll do that. We'll just do kind of play off the furniture / wall on this side. And on the other side, we kind of have a natural divider line. So I'm not sure we'll put up tape. Let me go ahead and use the field tape. Okay, so one of the things we have in the soccer and hockey starter kit is actually tape. It only says soccer on it. We'll get some hockey tape eventually, but this one says Basement Sports Soccer. And it's green as opposed to the red field tape we have for baseball. So what I'm going to do is just do 3 simple things. We'll do a center line. It's very easy to tear. You can use scissors as well. And then it's the kind of tape that's not sticky on the other side. You have to actually peel off the backing to get to the adhesive part. So I'm going to try to do this right at center field, which again, there's a pretty small field here. It looks like I've got about less than 10 yards. I'd say 10 to 12 feet on each side. So we're talking about like a 25-foot length field, which is super short. So let me just do the center line here. All right, there you go. So that's where we'll start the game. And the only other thing we would do, I would recommend, would be a little bit of sweeper keeper. How sweeper keeper works, and we'll demonstrate this later when we get Paul here. I'll get an opponent and we'll do a little game, would be how you play goalie, where you get to use your hands. So actually, if we look at this side, and if I actually use the red tape that's already on the floor, if you can see it, there's already red tape on the floor, almost looks like a goalie box. This would actually be perfect to say, as a rule, once I'm inside this box, as a defender, I can actually use my hands. I mean, whether you can get down on your knees, you know, and I'm not a big guy, but I can kind of block most of the goal, I'd probably say no. Again, that depends on each individual case. I would say as kind of a general basement sports rule of thumb, especially for grown-ups, but even for kids, that, you know, you shouldn't play goalie on your knees. But once you're back in your little keeper box or penalty box, you can use your hands, right? So I don't even know if I'll go ahead and put another, well, maybe we'll put some green tape down just to denote that this is for soccer as well. Because this little red box was for our baseball field for like cheap hits that don't come out of the infield. It would be considered a foul ball, right? And our home plate and all that. So just like professional sports fields sometimes have like the baseball mound and the football field, we have the same scenario here. So again, the rule we will have would be creating a goal box within which, or a goal, I'll just do a line. And when you're behind the line, you could then use your hands. Whether that's 1-on-1 or 2-on-2 or 3-on-3, here we only really have space, I think, for 1-on-1. Maybe 2-on-2 with, I might try that with maybe my son's soccer team. They're only 6. 2v2 could be interesting here for 6, 7-year-olds. For 47-year-olds like me, I think, well, 2v2 would be helpful too, not to have to run that much, but I think 1v1 will be a little fun with this kind of space. So we're going to use another small, same size soccer green sticker, and I'm just going to put that line on top of the red line because I think, and this is where you could use the tape measure. I think I will use the tape measure, but I'm just going to go with this line right here. I'll just go right. Let me see if this is midfield and I'm back in here. I think that's a good line. I'm going to go right in front of the red line. And that's going to be my line within which, call it like the goalie box, right? Within which I can become a goalie. Now I'm going to use our tape measure. Good to have. You could have your own, but we provide one in each starter kit. It's also in the baseball starter kit as well. And I mean, you could always do a line as well where you have the goal line down here. That might not be a bad idea in case the goal gets moved. Yeah, I just thought of that now for the first time ever. So, see, you learn something new every day when you try to be creative and innovate. And that's what basement sports is all about, right? It's about letting kids be unstructured, letting them come up with their own rules. Sure, we'll have recommendations, what we think are, to use a corporate consulting term, best practices, but listen, it's just about letting kids have fun, and big kids. I'm a big kid. I like to have fun. I'll play down here with my son and his friends. We'll do like me against 2-3 of them. And why not, right? So we'll use some field tape here, and I'll do soccer in the same direction there, and we'll do it right on the line because this goal is pretty light and it will get knocked over. So it could get crashed into. If the ball gets hit too hard, it might move it. So, and this will be good to determine if, a goal's been scored. We don't have VAR going, but eventually maybe we could have sensors, VAR. That's the sensor tracking technology that they use in soccer. Maybe I'll get Howard Webb, who's a friend of mine from Pro, that refs the MLS games, to chime in on that. But there we have our line. For if the ball goes past it, obviously in soccer, it's like if it's on the line, it's not a goal, it's got to go over the line. So we're going to just do 5 simple strips. And I think there's not really a ton of tape we provide, so be careful. Don't think you could line your whole field with this. There's like 25 feet of tape. I mean, you probably could line out of bounds or corner kicks. I don't think I'll do that here because the field is already kind of compressed and has its own natural boundary. So now we'll do, here's where we're going to use the tape measure. So I'm going to leave this tape on the side. I'll leave it on the hockey stick for now. And let me measure the length of the goal line to the goal box, right? I'll go from edge to edge. It looks like almost exactly 42 inches, right? So 36 inches would be 3 feet, so it's 3.5 feet from there to there. And just to measure, again, this looks like about the same. Yeah, it looks like almost, yeah, that's 40. So I'm just trying to see how long the field is. So to midfield, we're almost 80, 82, 84. Okay. So about 7 foot to midfield. So yeah, we're talking about a 15-foot field. So I kind of arbitrarily, visually kind of mapped out the field size and then like where midfield would be. And I'm pretty sure, so it's a good thing to have a tape measure because I'm like, now that I'm using the tape measure, I see that, this half is shorter, this half is longer. So I could simply just move a piece of tape or move the other goal to just make it more even. Doesn't always work out that way, and that's why games are played with halves. Maybe this half you're on the shorter field, next half you're on the longer side. And that happens in certain sports arenas. It's not always as symmetrical as we'd like, but we'd like to be able to do that, which is why we provide this instrument. So I did 42 inches for the goal line, for the kind of penalty box. And let me now set that up on the other side. Using our trusty green basement Sports Soccer branded field tape. Let's go ahead first and foremost and do the goal line. Right in the middle of the goal. This way, again, if your goal ever gets knocked off, you know, the goal gets knocked around, you know, okay, where to put it, where to kind of level it so it's centered there with that piece of tape. And now we're going to get one more piece of tape to mark the penalty box on this side. And then if we decide that the field isn't aligned perfectly, we'll just move the center line. I'll just take that piece of tape and relocate it to place exactly in the center. So pretty cool. You know, for baseball, I didn't use the tape measure as much. I think, well, we did use it to measure how long the pitching mound would be from home plate. That was useful. So it always comes in handy. So we have 42 inches to measure to then put this guy together. Let me go ahead and peel that. All right, so that's kind of ready. That's ready. 42 inches. Let me guess by looking at that. I think it's going to be right around this line. Let me guess. See how I do. Oh yeah, it's 41. 42 is there. So yeah, it's right there. Right there. Keep it centered as much as possible. And then keep the bottom of this here. Now it should become more obvious. We had 40 inches between the last penalty box and midfield. Now it looks like this side, see, is longer. This one's about 52 inches. So that means we'll have to move it 6 inches over to like this line to get a better midfield. Now I hope, you know, this tape is good. See, this is what I like about this tape. It doesn't get too sticky. You know what I mean? So I think that this tape going right here will be actually the perfect midfield spot. All right, folks, field setup pretty much done. Again, every space is different, every home, basement, garage, room. We're primarily focused on indoor sports. That's why, you know, these aren't waterproof balls. This isn't, you know, later we'll invent some backyard tools and accessories. The goals actually would be good for outdoors because they come with the stakes. Those could be taken outside, but this ball, it's an indoor ball. It's fluffy foam, not going to break your windows. And that would be your midfield. Again, if you would need it with extra tape or other things, you might have cones, certain things we don't provide, but any kind of marking for your boundaries, for your out of bounds. In this case, I'm not going to bother doing that in our field here before we get into our first demonstration of gameplay. But I encourage you to use these little strips of tape, you know, that we have down here, if you wish to use them to mark out of bounds, you know, parallel to where your goals are, or maybe like where a corner kick would be. But again, I'm not going to do that here for different reasons. There's a big pillar here, you know, in the corner, so I think that marks the corner, right? And then we have some other colored floors here that we use for basketball and different sports. So naturally, we're going to use the basketball boundary for out of bounds here in soccer. And I'm not going to put the tape down, but there is 25 feet of this green marking tape that you can use if you wish. And yeah, we'll leave it at that. So field setup complete for soccer, for hockey. Now it's time to move on to gameplay. Who wants to take me on? I'm ready.